Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cutting Stems, the after show. I always echo when we start the show, but somehow never when we're talking before we go live. Why does that happen? This is our finale show. It's presented by Dad Chat. The Dad Chat group has been popping off. If you're not in the Cutting Stems group on Dad Chat, you are really missing out. I can't even keep up with everybody in the Dad Chat group firing off thoughts, opinions. It's the best because sometimes, like, top and bottom, you just have people saying completely opposite things, and it's great. Everybody's got different opinions about this show. Dad Chat is, private messaging. You can send messages to singular people, one person, and you can delete those messages. They can't be screenshotted.
What's up, baby?
Yeah, sneaky.
My favorite thing is seeing the people who try and screenshot the Cutting Stems group. Like, you try and do it. You can't do. I know people want to test it out. You can't do it. And we see which one of you tries to screenshot. It literally puts your name on there. That is how legit Dad Chat is.
You know what? Every time I see the name, though, I'm like, good for them. They were excited. They were excited we wrote in the chat.
Yeah,
I feel good about it. I'm like, they wanted to screenshot that to show to somebody. That is the attention I ordered. So then I feel happy. Although Dad Chat puts it to a stop and is like, nope, can't happen. But we get to see who tries.
Exactly. So a big evening, Rhea, Kelly, Trent. The whole gang is here for the finale. We're going to go through start to finish 3 hours. I think we can start off first.
3 hours? I hope this Cutting Stems isn't going to be 3 hours.
Oh, it certainly will not. We can fly through a lot of this. I want to start off, though, by saying start to finish, Caitlin Bristow crushed that. Tayshia could not be there. She was in New York, which was interesting because I feel like they really were trying to dodge around a lot of the COVID stuff. Like, Tayshia wasn't there, and on social media, she said, I'm in New York. COVID's pretty crazy here. I've been exposed. For the safety of everyone, I'm not going. Okay. They did not mention Tayshia one time out during the show. I feel like they didn't want to be like, guys, COVID's pretty crazy right now, so Tayshia couldn't come. But let's do a live show.
And then it's clearly live because people weren't wearing masks when they started. And then they came back from the commercial break and were like, by the way, we got everybody masked up here. And it's just like, that's how I knew it was live. And I feel like we haven't had a live one, like a real live one, since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And so usually they tape it. So obviously a few bumps in the road and stuff like that, but I love that they've gone back to a live after the final rose. It just brings a new element of tension to the whole thing.
Live is the greatest. And I guess the first like 45 minutes of the show, nobody's wearing masks. And I guess putting them on 45 minutes later is like, what does the trick? I don't know. The announcements were, I feel bad that Caitlin has to make the announcements. They all have to talk about this all the time. Like, I don't know. This is our world, I guess.
Caitlin was very clear. Everybody was tested and tested again and tested again. And so they hope that everybody is okay. But really what I was trying to say is, I thought Caitlin did an absolutely amazing job.
Really good.
The live show is very hard. I love this exchange. Nick Viall put it on Twitter. He said, Chris Harrison after a final rose would always be so happy because it's hard to put together after the final rose show. And that, congratulated Caitlin for doing a great job. And she'd absolutely deserve that.
You can't mess up. Like, that's the thing. Like,
it's live.
It's live. You can't say the wrong name and be like, oh, actually, hold on. Like, let's go back and redo it. Like, I don't understand how anybody does live. Like you said, Caitlin did a great job.
We're doing it right now. No big deal.
Yeah, I was like, we're live.
Yeah, but like, we mess
much
up
smaller stage.
I'm going to mess up 50 times before this show is over. But like, she is, there's millions of people watching. It's high stakes. Like, when Brandon comes out to talk to Michelle, it's obviously very, like, tense and awkward, and you can't screw up, and you got to have questions ready. I agree with you. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll kick it off with Brandon and Nate meeting Michelle's family. Nobody was more excited to see Brandon than Michelle's parents. He's got a leg up. He's already met them, and you could feel the reunion right off the bat, like they were so happy to see him. What did you guys think of the differences between Brandon with the family and Nate with the family?
I feel like usually that means right then and there that Michelle was going to go for Nate, because if your family is so super obsessed with somebody, you're almost like, all right, well, what's wrong with them? Because your family always has questions about whoever you're dating, right? But like if they're, I mean, at first, like eventually, of course,
First meeting, yeah.
the first meeting, yes, like of course, eventually they're gonna love them, and you would hope that everyone gets along, and it's like the best thing ever. But like right off the bat, first impression, oh my god, I'm obsessed with this guy. Immediately has to have Michelle being like, it's like getting along with my parents almost too much.
But
yeah, I don't know about
with Michelle. Sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
No, you go, because you had your point ready to go. I was
live show.
You go
like
first.
that's not. I understand what you're saying, Rhea, but that's not the read I got from Michelle. Like Michelle, and maybe she can't really see.
Yeah, I'm talking about my own read right now.
That's what I mean. Like Michelle. I want to talk strictly about Michelle, not about your family. But Michelle clearly is like, what my parents say about my future prospect for a husband is very, very, very important to me. And so Brandon getting along so well with Michelle's mom and Michelle's dad, like when Brandon and Michelle's dad first sat down, they said like 2 words to each other and just started laughing, just could not stop laughing. And it just went about as well as it possibly could go. And then when Nate comes, her parents have the same concerns that all of us had throughout the season. He's not great at expressing himself. We're not sure whether or not he's going to be ready for an engagement with Michelle at the end of this. And those are real concerns that parents are going to have for their kid if they're going to maybe get married to this person at the end of this process. So it just felt like they were setting us up for maybe she's going to pick Nate because she's so in love with Brandon. That's what this show always does. It's like the first half of the show, I am like, oh, it's going to be Brandon. No matter what, she's picking Brandon because they have such a good connection. Brandon's great at expressing himself. Nate is not, doesn't feel like he's ready for an engagement. Brandon seems like he is, and it's going to be Brandon. And then obviously it flips somewhere down in the episode, but it's just the meetings with the parents couldn't have gone differently, and it felt like Brandon had the big time upper hand.
Yeah, sometimes I think also the fact too that he's met her parents before. Like he's already met them. He's got that like awkwardness out of the way. So Brandon goes into this with full confidence. Whereas in direct comparison to Nate, like we see Nate's immediately and we're like, all right, this guy is nervous. He's not very clear. He's not concise. He's not really sure about like what he wants to do or what he wants to say. He's freaking out. And next to Brandon, who's like already gotten past that and already had like the most awkward meeting of all time. I certainly do not forget him meeting Michelle's parents while he was in the hot tub wearing Michelle's dad's bathing suit, like with a boner. I don't forget that. But that's all shit that happened. Nate is now having to go through this awkwardness. And I think this is the point too, where Michelle started to question what the rest of us were kind of questioning, which is Nate actually serious about that? And I just think it's like hard to take Nate seriously. But after hearing from her mom, she was like, am I really falling for Nate? Am I really loving Nate? Or am I just afraid to lose him because he's not that afraid to lose me? She said something like that. And I thought that was like a pretty telling line. I was like, yeah, are you just like chasing what you can't have? Or are you just like not into the like full real love that's directly in front of you? You want like a little more of a challenge. That's kind of how it seemed.
Right.
It really turned too, because I think that like you said, Brandon had a little bit of the upper hand. He already went through the awkward first meeting. This is second meeting. Second meeting is going to be miles ahead of a first meeting when you're talking about like your significant other parents. Nate to me, like he got to the point of saying all the right things, but for some reason, like I don't know if it's like the way he says it, because he's got this like cool guy, I don't really care about anything sort of vibe that you're just like, I don't know if I believe you. Like Brandon, it just felt so believable. But I will say right away, the edit that was happening, and not even like the edit of like, ooh, Brandon's getting a good edit, Nate's getting a bad edit. I'm just saying the way the show was put together really made us like they were selling Brandon so hard and making Nate look like oh, the parents don't like him, and is he going to commit? Is he ready for an engagement? As the storyline that I was like, oh, it's going to be Nate. They're selling us so hard on it not being Nate. I would love to talk to Nate and be like, how were you feeling in this moment? Because I bet you Nate would be like, yeah, no, I was ready to propose. I had no problems at all. Like, I watched the episode back and was like, damn, no wonder everybody was so worried about me.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and they certainly cut it up that way, but it also sort of seems like that is what was going on. Like, that meeting between Nate and Michelle's mom seemed pretty icy.
It
like,
did. He seemed very nervous.
He was nervous.
That was so hard to watch.
It was, and like Nate sort of does have like the cool guy, you know, the earring, the tall. He's a cool guy, but also in those moments he's super nervous and he can't talk. He can't express himself. And the mom picked up on that and was like, I'm not picking it up. I don't feel what's going on here. I don't think you're ready for an engagement. So as much as they did cut it, like, oh, for the first half of the episode, it looks like Brandon is the easy winner. I think that was true to a degree.
I feel like as time went on, Nate got less and less smooth. Like, I feel like when it was all the other guys, he was like you said, he's like Mr. Cool. He's chilling. He's doing this. He's playing basketball. No problem. Like, not a care in the world. And then all of a sudden he like can't form a sentence and he can't meet someone's mom, like the nicest lady ever. He's having a hard time and like fucking up his words. What did he say? He was like, oh, I don't take love seriously.
I don't take love seriously. Yeah, he botched that. He botched that.
Just a full pretty hard.
He really botched that. What did we think? What did we think of their two final dates? They kind of went two different ways. Once again, this is also how we watched it. Like, Brandon got the lovey-dovey music and the love notes and everything, and every like step that Nate took on their date, it was like boom, 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 like the sad, like the ominous music. But Brandon obviously opened up a lot. It's just I love you, 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 I love you over and over again. And it took Nate a little bit longer to get there. What did you guys think of these two final dates?
Well, I'd like to have a conversation with the three of you about you guys turning on Brandon like halfway through the episode. Hold on.
Turn on Brandon?
Hold on.
Love Brandon.
It's like,
it was a lot. It was a lot.
Brandon is so great. And then he writes a love letter, and he's super open and nice and warm, and he's just the nicest, most loving guy in the world, and then Nate gives his 2-suit speech, which I actually thought was pretty nice, and he's starting to open up to her a little bit, and you guys are like, fuck Brandon, he's almost too much. You guys started falling into the trap of like, oh, Nate's kind of a challenge, he's a little dangerous, but he's opening up a little bit more, so now
nobody was falling into that.
Like, this guy Brandon, my name's Republic, what's going on? And you guys with Brandon are just like, oh, he's too much. He's just
no. We were not falling into any Nate trap. We thought that Nate had a bunch of red flags. I'll say this, though. I'm not going to sit here and say that I love Brandon just because now that Brandon got his heart broken, everyone's like, we love Brandon so much. He's so sweet because everyone feels bad for him. They'll be like, oh, we love him. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I love him because I don't. I think he was like a little too much at times. Yes, stand-up guy, very respectful answers after the final rose that I was very impressed with. I was like, he's a stand-up gentleman. He means well. You know, he was really in love with Michelle. But like, I'm not like, oh my God, Brandon is to die for. And Nate also not to die for. I wasn't crazy about either of these two people, if I'm being quite honest. Halfway through the show, I said to myself, dare we bring Joe back? Like, I was not feeling it really between any of these. I'd also like to touch on two things from before. There was a scary noise in my basement. I had to move upstairs.
I was going to ask about the location.
And before, when I said that thing about Brandon's parents, after I said it and Trent said his answer, I was like, I really just say shit that I don't mean.
What do you mean?
Like, when talking about, listen, I'm explaining.
Michelle's parents? You said Brandon's parents.
No.
Michelle's parents.
Michelle's parents.
You said Brandon's parents, right?
Brandon with Michelle's parents.
Yes.
When talking about this show, sometimes don't know what to say. Yeah. And we'll just say whatever. And then afterwards, I'm like, Rhea, you would love if a guy was sitting down with your dad, laughing it up right away. Like, you would be so thrilled about that. What are you saying? So I'd like to clear that up. That's not how I feel. And
Lying. We're just lying on the show now. Just lies.
Sometimes I just think she sometimes you just
she gets that mob mentality.
Them starts and like Rhea like gets into character. What character that is, I don't know.
It's like, which personality am I going to pull out tonight?
Yeah, it's
That's
like
where I went with
we
that.
go in either direction. We really don't know. Both both very good points. I'm sorry you heard a scary noise. I hope you're safe now.
It's not a scary noise. It's just a noise that comes from my basement, and I forgot that it happened, and it's happening right now.
Okay, very fair, very fair. And yes,
can I say something about Brandon? Can I say something about him?
Yes, I want to keep talking about Brandon. Go ahead, Kelly.
I think that it's not that we like loved him so much all along, or that we like loved Nate so much all along. I think that from the beginning, Brandon was like kind of corny and lame and said like cheesy like love things all the time. And at first we were like, who's this like loser? Like I don't believe him. But then we realized it's really him. Yeah. And we're like, okay, he just like is a very loving, nice guy. And I tweeted this. I was like, nice guys never fucking win. Like that's just the fact. Like how in theory, the nice guy who writes you that big long letter, who gets along with your parents, who tells you he loves you 1,000 times a day. That's like what everybody wants. Sounds amazing. But when you have it in practice, you're like, well, okay, give me some space. The letter's a little much. I don't know how to react to it. I'm feeling awkward because we don't live in a rom-com. Nobody lives that way. But some guys who are so nice and they just want to like give you their whole lives, their whole selves, and you don't want to accept it. It's very sad to see. And it happens every time. Like there's always a nice guy. And this time around, he just happened to make it to the final two. And we were pretending like, oh, he's not really like that. He's been like that all along. He's been so cheesy, so corny, so in love this whole time. It just didn't work at the end next to Nate.
And it's just one of those things too, where you watch in the lens of the show until something pulls you out of it that feels extreme. And that's what was going on with Brandon for me at the end, because I watch in the lens of the show, like I'm, what's happening. Yes, they're falling in love. Yes, this can work. The full brainwash.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid.
But when Brandon was just I love you in the sweatshirt from the food fight and the note and everything, that's when I put on like real life hat, and it's like, dude, you've known her 6 weeks, maybe. Like this feels like a lot right now. It's a lot of like, I can't wake up another day in my life without you. Like it was like, whoa. And not that I do believe him. That's the thing. Like I believe that he was
I think he's genuine.
Very much in love. I just think that's where I was like, this might be a little unrealistic, where they could get out of this thing and they're going to be on different like playing fields. Like Michelle's feelings are going to be on a different level than Brandon's, and that's why maybe Nate was a better choice, because Michelle's feelings were really strong and she just needed Nate to meet her, which she felt like could happen, instead of her trying to meet Brandon's feelings, which clearly she knew was not going to happen.
I mean, you guys are haters of my sweet boy Brandon, and that's fine. But I also
I'm not really not. He really is a stand-up guy.
I'm still like not liking Nate. Like I don't really buy it. I don't buy anything he says. I think that was
a down payment on the house.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, but like, yeah. What about the down payment? What happens when they break up? Like, I hope they don't. I hope Michelle and Nate find happiness. But like, I just don't believe anything he says ever. Like, I just
on the down payment says that they can't break up, or else they can't accept the down payment.
It did feel like Michelle was looking for any reason to pick Nate. And that was when he did the 2 suits. Like, I only brought 2 suits, and he started to open up, and that was very nice. Like, I really think as long as he did one thing and showed that he might start to open up down the line and express himself, she was going to latch on to him immediately. Like, I think Brandon was up against it in a big way. I mean, Nate has not been expressing himself much all season, so there was a chance he never did that. And then I think Michelle picks Brandon. But as soon as Nate did that one thing, Michelle was like, all right, there's potential there, and I'm going that way.
He literally waited until the last fucking second, and Michelle like sighed and was like, "This is literally all I've been asking for this entire time." Like it's just she was waiting for it, and she was like, "Bingo, decision made. That's it." And it's like
really
it
all
sucks. That's all it took was that little bit. Like I just feel like Brandon laid his heart on the line this whole entire time, like so transparent, so this, so that, but she's just like nipping after that thing that she couldn't get, and she gets it, and that's what she wants. You know,
and
it's always how
really,
it goes.
Really, all he said was like, this whole thing scares me so much. I love you. Like that was it. Like it was great. I mean, that worked. That's what she wanted to hear. She was like, I need him. I think she wanted to hear that he was going to be like upset to lose her or like scared at what could happen. Yeah. And that's what she wanted to hear. But that is what happened. Brandon was the first one out of the limo. Unfortunately, SUV, whatever you want to call it. Caitlin and Tayshia did not sell it. They looked very upset with Brandon.
They could not make it seem like he wasn't getting picked more. Like they were straight up like, get in there, bud. Good luck. Like, good luck. They couldn't even fake it.
They were like, hey.
We got the Grim Reaper thing. They're just standing there with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
The
Grim Reaper. The staff.
No, it's
big knife thing.
There's a word for it. It's
I thought it's a staff.
I think it starts with an S. I'm gonna look it up.
Correct.
Staff. Right. It just has that giant knife, the knife thing on the top.
The thing on it.
Reaper staff.
I think that's probably exactly what's going to come up is just a picture.
A scythe.
Oh,
a scythe. Oh,
yeah.
Fancy word.
Intense.
Super fancy.
Anyway,
they did not sell it whatsoever. Brandon should have known right then. He should have gotten back in the SUV and just headed to the airport.
Well, what we learned from after the final rose is that he was like, Michelle wears all of her emotions in her eyes, which I think as a viewer, we knew that as well, because as soon as Brandon walked up, it was bad news, and he knew it too. And the poor guy still had to go through his speech and see what happens. Thankfully, he didn't get down on one knee or anything. But Michelle, can we all agree here? I know it's part of the show, and I know that they do it, and it happens almost every finale. But like she cut him off after like one sentence.
Has to cut him off.
Don't let him get to the point where he's like, I'll love you today, tomorrow, forever. Like the whole thing, like cut him off before that. Right when he starts talking, say, sorry, gotta cut you off there.
Luckily, there were tidal waves hitting the beach while it was happening. Tsunami. It was the loudest
ocean of all time.
It was so loud. It was unbelievably loud.
Crashing. I barely even heard what he said.
That's hilarious. It's kind of hilarious just to be like, well, Brandon, on the bright side, no one could even hear the breakup.
No, it honestly was like not even that bad to me because I couldn't even focus on the emotions because they were just drowning in waves.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Robert Mills said they boosted the audio as much as they could, and it still didn't really help. So they were really, really loud.
It was.
I know,
it was
and
crazy.
They probably boosted the audio, and then it also made the waves louder. It's just, it was so loud.
It was a nightmare all around. I do think that though, Fran, they always kind of let them go a little long on these, like laying their love all on the line. And to me, it gives me the image in the head that they're like walking on a plank, literally. Like they're on a pirate ship walking on a plank and they're about to reach the end and then they get dumped and pushed off. Like that's what I like envision in my head every single time they walk up to get broken up with at the proposal. Like I always respect, and I kind of think it's juicier when the Bachelorette or the Bachelor visits the room beforehand and like breaks up with them then. So then the only proposal is like the one that happens, because otherwise, like, to be honest, the Nate proposal, like I maybe could have gotten on board with that, whatever, completely soiled for me based on that breakup. Like I watched that breakup first and I'm like still drying the tears off my face while Nate's on one knee. I'm like, how am I supposed to buy this right now? How am I supposed to feel for this couple? And it trickled over into the after the final rose. I hated the whole thing. Hated it.
And Brandon's crying and he's walking up these steep stairs. And he's looking back. It's like
he sweat through his suit like
the
so
tears
bad.
are
I mean, he was sopping wet. The poor guy was absolutely sopping wet. He hits Michelle with the your happiness is more important than mine line. Like it was too much. The look back on the stairs. It was very like such an emotional breakup that yes, Kelly, I understand it takes away from the happiness a little bit. It's like hard to have both feelings at the same time because like you think about that proposal from Nate, and It was nice. It was nothing profound.
Fine.
I've seen better proposals on this show, I would say. It was simple. It was to the point. I love you. He got down on one knee and was like, "Will you marry me?" She's like, "Yeah." That was it. Like there wasn't really too much of a speech type situation, I would say. Once again, probably has to do with the audio issues. Couldn't hear a lot of what they were saying, but they were very happy the proposal happened. As much as they tried to sell us all season, these last 6 weeks, that Nate wasn't going to be ready to propose, he really did propose. He did it. And that took us into the after show where, of course, we had to see Brandon come out and talk to Michelle for the first time in Rhea, like you said, very respectful. There isn't really much more else to say about it. For a guy to be like, I will always, always, always love her, but in a different kind of love kind of way that's respectful to her new relationship now. It's like, who thinks he even say that? Well done.
That's my guy. Yeah. That's my guy, Brandon.
Such a gentleman. Such a gentleman. He really was.
He did a really good job there. Terrible jacket. Awful. Hated it. Just got thrown
I didn't like the jacket. It reminded me of like that time like maybe 3 or 4 years ago when every single male celebrity on the Met Gala red carpet like wore that same fucking jacket and it was ugly as shit. Like I feel like everybody wore that jacket in like different colors and it was ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holiday it was special kind of vibes. Just got to mention the Joe and Serena makeout. We didn't talk about that. They just came back from commercial at one point, and Joe and Serena were making out under mistletoe. They didn't break from the kiss for us to even see their faces. It was just a full makeout the whole time, and we were like, "Was that Joe and Serena?"
Just really, really sucking face. Can I say something that I was thinking this whole time that we were talking about Brandon and Nate? I can't believe that it was Brandon and Nate and not Joe. Like this whole time, I still can't believe it. Like we didn't get to talk about it really last week because we didn't have the show. But I've been thinking about this whole time. But then at the same time, Joe last week sucked the wind out of his own self. Like that fantasy suite date was a nightmare. He just put his foot right in his own mouth. And I can't imagine like him in that situation. And I feel like he would have botched it like worse than Nate, you know? Yeah. Like if it were Nate and Joe, I think that Joe would have botched it like Nate did.
I think Joe would have just been like, we all would probably have been falling asleep at some, like, just, I think in the nicest way.
Yeah, yes. I think if it were Joe and Nate at the end of the show, like we all thought it was going to be, I think Michelle would have been like, I got 2 guys who cannot express themselves. And it's really hard for me to pick one of these guys. At least with Brandon, it was like a lot, and less from Nate. If she had Joe and Nate, it would have been like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But yeah, Nate or Joe, we didn't have the show last week, right? Yeah. No. I was stunned that he didn't make the final 2, but I think it made some sense now that I think back on it.
I almost think that Nate expressed his feelings more than Joe would have. Like Nate ended up opening up a lot. And I think that we got to see him finally be really happy. I don't know if we would have saw that excitement with Joe.
I agree with you.
And we'll see. I just want to know how sincere Nate is because he just seems really wrapped up in the whole thing. And in this show, everyone views it through the lens. The viewers do. The people who are participating in it certainly do. Where you have to get to this end point where it's an engagement, and it's like, are you going to do that? And he did do it now, and you just got to figure out if you actually feel that way now in the real world. A $200,000 down payment might help a little. Him moving in Minnesota helps a lot, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. But it just feels like I hope it stays together. That's all.
It's too bad we don't get like a sit down with Joe. It's one of those breakups where it falls after the men tell all, but not quite like after the final rose. So we don't see him in that situation at all. So we don't really get any more of that. But let's chat about moving to Minnesota. That was a big conversation that we had. Like, is this guy ready to move? Is he going to leave Austin? What's the plan? And there was no hesitation. Caitlin asked, and he was like, "Oh, I'm moving. I'm heading to Minnesota." They're getting Zillow notifications, and clearly they're serious enough. Where Trent, like you said, the Bachelorette gave them a down payment on the show for their first house, and I think they were both so in shock that we definitely weren't supposed to know the amount. And Michelle was so floored by the amount she mouthed it on television.
200,000.
That was crazy.
I feel like it was just a bribe.
So much money.
It
So
was like,
much money.
We need a couple to stay together at this point so badly that we will give you $200,000 to live together. Like, just live together, get a house immediately. We need people to see that this show may work. So
there's a contract that came with that check.
100% if they take that check,
yeah.
they gotta stay together a certain amount of time.
Dude, I don't know much about the housing market in Minnesota, but like $200,000, that's not a down payment. That's like 50% of a really nice house, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to be looking at some very nice suburbs of Minneapolis, if that's where they're looking, because that's quite a down payment for a home.
Yeah. That's a good chunk of cash. But yeah, I guess it's like they just want it to happen so fast. Like they don't want anything standing at Bachelor, like the Bachelor world or ABC.
Like, don't give them any time where they live in that limbo of like, we're going to go back and forth from Austin and Minneapolis for the first few months, see what happens. And then that's when they break up. They're like, no, go to Minneapolis now.
No excuses. No excuses. You're moving in tomorrow. I honestly, when they brought that house out, I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but when they brought it out as a house and like a thing on top, I was like, tell me they bought them a fucking house. Like I thought there was
going to be keys.
Like an actual house. So this is a little bit better.
Have they ever done anything like that? Not to my memory.
I don't think so.
Like, and here's a new car with your engagement. What?
No, I don't think they've ever given money like that.
They're
like
setting an unreal precedent here. Like
the only time
you have to start giving out
stuff like The Price is Right.
Seriously.
Just depending on how they like you. Like, here's a house, here's a car. Maybe they're like, here's a dog. I don't know. Like,
and if I'm the next couple to go, I'm saying, oh yeah, we're thinking about moving to like Calabasas. So if you could give us a down payment for that, that would be ideal. It's like $4 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's so insane. Do you think? Wait, what was it? Fuck! I just lost what I was gonna say right there. Damn it! I was trying to say it like 10 times, and then never mind. Keep going.
All right, let's talk about Clayton's mean tweets while Rhea, you want to let's get some questions up, shall we, for our next segment if you want to check that out. But just obviously have to mention the fact that they brought the parents adorable. Forgot to say moms. Thumbs up to moms. They're best friends. Love it. That is absolutely so cute. That also is a very good sign. And 2, they brought Clayton out. Caitlin was like, a lot of people don't know who you are. They don't get it. Let's read some mean tweets. They were fucking mean.
So mean. It was very funny.
We were being kind of mean to him, like talking about how like we don't get how he's the Bachelor. Like those were so mean.
They were incredibly mean. And can I just say also that the audience was not laughing at anything. It made it worse. Like I was sitting here like, haha, like whatever. And Caitlin was like, LOL. And it was nobody said a word.
They weren't like laugh out loud funny. Like some of them were just straight up like you read them and went, ooh.
The one about the one like if you have kids, they're gonna look like Shreks. It's like, wow.
That was so mean.
That was like a little too much.
Right, like I was kind of like, I think it's a good idea, and you're right. The crowd, Kelly, plays a big role in it. Like they set the mood for how we are supposed to respond at home. So if they're laughing like ha ha ha, then we're all laughing. And then I thought Clayton did a really good job of like rolling with it, being like, yeah, that's fine. Like people talk shit. If he's gonna be the Bachelor, and it seems like he knows this, you got to know that people are gonna be ruthless. Unfortunately, that's just the way that the world works. There's really no stopping it. He rolled with it really nicely, but yeah, some of those tweets were just like, man, that's pretty mean.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Clayton is the Bachelor, and I just puked in my mouth.
I actually loved that one didn't rhyme because it was so much more ruthless. Yeah. Also, though, I see both sides of this. Like, you should be able to laugh because, like, this is going to happen to him. He's going to have to deal with this. It's going to be really bad. People are going to say really mean things. But they should also be teaching them to not read all of this stuff. So it was like at the end of it, he was like, I read everything. And Caitlin was like, okay, well, don't say that. Like,
they find out they're very weird with social media on this show. Like one day they got Rachel doing a fucking anti-bullying PSA, reading tweets and the hate speech and everything that's happening on the show in between tweets. Remember, they have a full-blown PSA about it. Like, watch what you say. Like, these are real people. And then they put Clayton up there, and they're like, "Ha, let's read all these mean tweets about you."
Yeah. That's actually a really good point. I had not thought about that. I was actually in the building when they did that, Rachel, when the anti-bullying thing.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, all right, and I understand like what that was for and what it's about because it's fucking crazy out there. But it is funny that they roll Clayton out there and they're like, "What's up, Shrek?" Like, oh. It's crazy.
Damn, nobody gives a fuck about you, Clayton. Like, what? Whoa.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. All right, let's take some questions.
Man.
All right, do we think that we know what happens in Clayton's season after the trailer?
I don't know. I texted you guys this a million times. I'm so confused. Are those the final 3? Are those the final 2? They can't be. There's no way they would give them to us in the preview. And I'm like, are they fake outs? But the way Clayton's like, I just told her, like, I just sent her home. And now you two are here. And I love both of you. And I was intimate with both of you. It's like, if you're intimate, are we talking outside the fantasy suites? Are we having sex like all over the place?
I was going to say, this
suites.
Maybe we have another. Maybe we have another season of The Rules Are There Are No Rules. Like we might get some rule breaking shit from Clayton.
Maybe Clayton's having sex with these girls, not during the fantasy suite. That's possible.
He might be.
It couldn't be. That couldn't have been the fantasy suite week because
no way.
You see their faces. You just see them. You know who they are now. When the first night rolls around, we're gonna be like, oh, that's the girl and that's the girl who end up. One of them's crying on the stairs, and which
is even better. Honestly, because if Clayton's just out here sleeping with these girls, like
I hope so.
5, it's just.
I hope so bad.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
I hope.
Also, I think
we hope they're all just having sex. We really do.
I think that this time too. I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like I remember them saying it, or I remember reading something about it on Twitter. That there is like more traveling in this time. Cause it's like, it was during a time where like traveling is around. So they're going to be like all over the place. So I feel like if we see these girls in a place that's different, it might not be like the last couple of episodes. Like they might travel somewhere like week 2 or week 3. Yeah. We might just like see these girls like randomly on the balcony. Like
do a more full blown travel season.
Yeah. So it could be deceiving in that way, like footage where it looks like it's late in the game, but it's not.
Right.
Do we think that if things don't last with Nate, she'll go back to Joe?
Oh.
No. Joe? No. She's bored by him officially, I think.
I can see it.
I only am a maybe because he's so close by.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's the only
maybe a couple dates.
Time. Yeah, like in a moment of weakness, if something were to happen, you like send that DM. Like he lives 10 minutes away.
Sure.
Maybe that's why Nate's moving to Minnesota immediately.
Get in there.
Good point.
Yep.
Do we think they use the same set as Bachelor in Paradise for the proposal?
Oh, I thought that. I was wondering. I was like, aren't they in Mexico on like their same beach? Like, I wonder if they have like a timeshare in that same spot, and they just like It looked a little different than Bachelor, but it looked like the same beach, to be honest.
It looked very similar. It looked like they were probably in somewhat of a similar location and just reconstructed the same look because they know how to do that one.
Probably.
I agree. Yeah?
The questions just aren't that great.
One more.
I'm sorry, that was mean. Do you think the mean tweets with Clayton was enough of him to get a buy-in for next season?
Yeah, I mean, that was strategic, right? It was like, oh, let's read all these mean tweets about Clayton. Look how mean people are being to him. Now everyone let's love him. Like that's the point. That's the point of doing that. And look, it worked immediately for me. That ended, and I was like, oh, this guy isn't that bad.
Right. And him,
I was like, give him a chance.
Give him a chance. These babies aren't going to look like Shrek.
I was like, he's so handsome. What are they saying?
Yeah, him not being defensive about it, him being cool about it. I think it's a 2-part thing where it's like, all right, we'll give this guy a shot. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Totally.
All right. Should we give out our final roses and cut some stems for the last episode of Michelle's season? Selfishly, I kind of want to go first. I don't ever get to go first.
Go first, Fran. You go first.
Go first.
Guys, I'm gonna pick me tonight. I'm picking me tonight.
Pick you, girlfriend. You pick you.
Okay. Because I already have them planned out, and I'm gonna be mad if someone else takes them. Number 1.
All right.
Cutting the stem of the pear-shaped engagement ring. I have to do it. I hate it. If you have a pear-shaped, I'm sure you love it. My mother has a pear-shaped engagement ring. So really, like, there's one in the family. Not for me. I don't like it. Not
those messages tonight, Fran.
Not my choice. My mom doesn't even really like it that much. Not my choice.
Oh my
Pray
God.
for your dad. Pray for your dad.
I will. That's always.
He was young and in love. He was young and in love.
It's Family Diamond.
Oh my God. It's even worse.
The Cutting Stems group chat, whenever Neil Lane makes an appearance, it just explodes with you guys talking about the shapes of diamonds. And Noah and I are just like, whatever. Like, I don't know what's
It's really me and Keegs who are just
hand up.
Sal
I have to Google search what an emerald cut was tonight.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, me and Keegs are the ones that have our ideal.
I just got that shit right in my brain.
We got that shit planned out. But
I was born and then just like put it in my head.
In the dad chat group, I was dying because like one girl right before me was like, "Oh my God, love the pear shape," and then it was me being like, "No, not the pear shape."
I saw that.
Pretty funny, but look, this is the thing. You know what you're gonna get with the Neil Lane ring. They're classic. I wish Neil would kind of mix it up a little bit. You know,
I wish. You know what I wish? I wish you would stop doing the halos.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be super trendy. I know everybody these days gets the oval or the gold band, this like the celebrity looking ring. I get that, but like all of Neil Lane's rings always look the same. I'm sure Michelle's very happy. That's a personal choice for me.
Yeah, that's fine. Style is relevant, and unfortunately, Neil Lane is a very specific style.
It is.
I love him.
It is. I mean, why do you think JoJo got a new ring?
I mean, everybody has gotten a new ring.
Jordan re-proposed with a new ring. I will be giving my rose tonight to Big Polly. He crushed it. Sorry, Trent. That's why I wanted to go first.
Yep, smart.
Polly did a great job. If I wasn't going to do Polly, Caitlin, obviously. Polly. If you don't know who we're talking about, Polly was the guy who reenacted all the Christmas movies in between commercial breaks, and he
Polly Claus, right? Polly Claus.
Polly Claus. He was Santa Claus. What is his like official role? Security.
Big Polly.
I think so.
I think security is early.
Security. He's like trickled into some content. You know, he's pulled luggage from time to time.
Yeah.
And he got to do all those. He absolutely crushed it. His Home Alone was great. The Christmas Story with it was great. He did a great job.
Yeah, that was very convincing. His tongue. How is he being so convincing with that?
He did a phenomenal job. So that is mine, and now I will pass it to Maria.
Oh my God, what an honor. I wasn't expecting this. I'm going to cut the stem of the ocean. Just entirely too loud,
well done.
In the way, obnoxious, drowning all of our emotions. And I am going to give my rose to the moms. Such a sweet moment.
Sweet one.
That was so
cried.
Sweet.
That's what got me. I started crying when they started hugging each other. Because once again, I would like for the person I'm with to get along with my family.
Yes, it would be nice.
Oh boy.
Once again, all she wants is just
that's all I want.
Cohesion. Family cohesion.
Yep. Everybody getting along.
That's what I truly want when I lied about it the first time.
Yeah. Oh man.
I want it so bad.
So good. A little synergy, a little family synergy.
All right.
Yep.
Kelly, take it away.
Okay. I have a rose I want to give, and then I have a rose I want to do an honorable mention from the whole season. The rose I want to give for tonight is to Caitlin Bristow. Got to give it to her. Trent, I'm sorry if you're going to take it. I thought that she did so well. I think last minute having to host an entire after the final rose, like that's like, I don't even know how. Like that was fantastic. She did such a good job. I'm so impressed by her.
Don't forget that she thought she was doing that with someone else for probably a long time.
People don't realize how hard that is, myself included. I just can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
No, it's just like it takes a lot of strength and to not have anxiety, to pull it off perfectly. Like just she didn't fuck up once, like not even a little like hiccup, nothing. It was amazing. So rose to her. Also a rose for the entire season, all of Michelle's outfits. I think that Michelle, her outfits this entire season, including her proposal dress, amazing, fantastic. She looked awesome. I'm going to cut the stem of the fact that they keep having proposals in swelteringly hot locations. Let's just go somewhere like seasonably warm. Like it doesn't have to be so hot that we're all in gowns with beads and we're all in full suits and sweating through them. And it just makes all these people look terrible. It doesn't matter if it's Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Paradise. They are always sweating and it's unfair. And I feel bad for Brandon for having to sweat all over the place. I don't want to keep seeing it. I want it to stop. Justice for all these people who are sweating so much.
Poor Brandon was wiping his face with his jacket. Like it was just,
and it's like your nerves too. Your nerves, all these things together. It's like just put them in a cool location.
Absolutely. Trent, take it away. Our final.
Okay. I'm going to cut the stem of the crowd for not selling more of Caitlin's jokes, for making the Clayton thing far more uncomfortable than it needed to be. So I'm cutting their.
I thought you were gonna say because they weren't wearing masks.
I got something I want to say.
As soon as he said, "I'm gonna cut,"
you're real political right now.
The stems of the crowd. I was like, "Where is he going with this?"
No one cuts my mic as I'm
mask on right now.
No. Yeah, so I'm gonna give my
put your mask on, Trent.
No, it's not funny. It's not funny.
Trent's like, it's not funny. Trent hasn't left his apartment in a week, so
I'm the safest dude in New York City.
Safest guy.
You're allowed to read these jokes. You legit. We did the group chat this morning. I was like, Trent, you've been in the same spot for the last 5 days. He was like, I have.
Yeah.
Nobody is spreading this virus less than me, and I don't have it. I test myself. Whatever. All right.
We get it. You're safe.
Whatever. All right.
Trent hates masks.
Trent's an anti-vaxxer.
All right. Let's get back here.
Trent said, "Do not get your booster."
Trent says it's all a hoax by the government.
Sorry, we're going too far. Fred had to duck.
Live show, baby. Trent is vaccinated. Please get your boosters.
I am.
Everyone stay safe. We take it on very seriously.
Get your boosters. Trent, go ahead.
I'm going to give my rose to Brandon. There may be 3 haters here on this panel of Brandon, but I'm not one of them. All right. I am not either. I'm not a hater. I thought he was great all season.
Hogwash.
These others have been calling him corny and cheesy and all these horrible things. I think he's great. I love Brandon. I really felt bad for him at the end. I thought he had it, and then Michelle decided to go with Nate, who seems fine and great and all that. But I was rooting for my guy Brandon. It didn't work out for him. I would be very surprised if this is the last time we see him on a Bachelor program. So my rose goes to Brandon, and
Noah, what is wrong with you?
Just what's no. Where's my best card? Where's my
Noah is so devious sometimes.
It's in
Noah
here.
is just getting back card
right here.
Oh wow, Trent, you gotta do something with that.
I've had it for so long. It's all crumpled.
That's a fake.
Yeah, that's fake.
All right, I got one final thing to say about Brandon. Final thing to say about Brandon. Okay. This is just my final thought on how I feel about Brandon. I just feel like he is, in the nicest way possible, like he is the 16-year-old who gets into college early and like wants to fit in with all the college kids, but like looks really young, but is smart and like and knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing because he got into college and he can do it, but like he's still a kid.
Yeah, he's socially still like a little intense.
Like,
sounds like a hater to me.
Not a hater at all. I think Brandon's great. I really do. All right, I think that wraps it up for our last episode of Cutting Stems. Have a very safe Christmas, everyone. Stay safe. You know, get vaccinated if you haven't. Please do. Get your booster.
Yep. I was going to say, and thanks for watching Fox 5 News.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Fox and Friends signing off.
Yeah. That wraps it up for Michelle's season.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
We'll be back in
thanks for watching.
2 weeks, people.
No.
All right. No one. We'll be back in 2 weeks, everyone.
We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we're gonna have a 6 set. It's gonna be different than anything you've ever seen before. We won't be virtual. We won't.
Will the set be ready on January 3rd? TBT.
It will not be ready then, but it will be ready at some point. So everyone, be ready for Cutting Stems. We love you. Have a happy New Year.
We love you.